Good to see you.
Okay. Hello there, everyone. Uh, Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing well. I have just some topics here I'd like to talk about with Bridge to Glory and weapon buffs, and kind of how they scale and where they go in the multipliers and in the modifiers setup, so you can kind of have an idea about when to put different buffs together and when not to, based on what you're looking at. So the first one we're going to go over here is Bridge to Glory. So Bridge to Glory is an additive multiplier. However, it is a multiplier that is based on the light value, the actual value that you see on the card, or on here where you have base and scaling. Those add up to make the light value. So 322 plus 1246 is indeed 1568. So the total light value is what Bridge to Glory scales off of. So if you look at your attack, you have 85, and then every weapon has what I call a bridge factor, which is a divider that runs against the light value. So you take the light value um, divided by the bridge factor, I guess you could call it, for the weapon, and then add that to the base and scaling of the weapon. Now the physical attack here is base plus scaling, and for whatever reason, the speed bag here has like a 10% damage reduction against the pipe, but just ignore that. So here you have base is 30 and scaling is 65. Now scaling is for where all of your damage buffs, like offensive order, overdrive, um, let's see, blow of madness, these kinds of things, they all kind of affect that scaling multiplier there. There's not too much in the game that modifies your base, except for some of the major damage buffs like adrenaline, because that's an outside of the parentheses, sort of a multiplier. And the elemental buffs, these are additive buffs to each other. Lightning is 20%, frost is 20%, but they're additive, so it's 20% plus 20% is 40%. Straight up, it's not 20% times 20%. So it's unfortunate that those are additive. All the elementals are additive, which is okay, but it's a kind of a series of diminishing returns as you get higher and higher and higher damages. So yeah, when we run Bridge to Glory, we were getting 85. Now we should be expecting here from our pipe that we should be having 1568 divided by the typical value on most weapons. Their bridge factor is like 2.2, around there. You can pick some different values. There are some that go really low, and you want to have as low bridge factor as you can possibly have, and then you add to the base that you were getting. And so now we should be expecting around 791 or 792. Okay, there we go. So 791. So we're right on with that one. So this does indeed have a bridge factor of what I call the standard bridge factor of 2.2198. And that's kind of standard across all weapons. Like the Brodea, if we go back to the missile and we attack 805, and then we attack again 1511, so plus 805. Yeah, so that one has the same exact bridge factor as the pipe, even though, and you might think, well, it's just because they have different stat scalings and everything, right? So there's C plus and C for stat scaling, and the Brodea has no strength, A plus, C plus, B plus for these different stats. So it's not even affected by these stat scalings here. However, it is very much affected by the bridge factor of your weapon is very much affected by the stats of your blood code. So let's go back to the pipe here, and if we look, our pipe was strength and dex based. So if we change the strength and dex of the pipe, We're now at 88. Okay, so this is going to be plus 88, and we don't know the bridge factor yet, so we're going to have to solve for that. So we pop this, go for 793, and solve that equation, and that's a 2.22, so it actually went up. So it went the opposite direction of what we wanted it to. However, if we go for Dex and Mind, since if you increase your Mind, because the bridge to Glory is based off of the, like we said, the scaling plus base for light number, for the light value. Now this will do 86, so it does less on the base here. And then if we do Bridge to Glory and get 815, and that gives us a bridge factor of 2.15. So it indeed goes down. So the more you can increase your mind without increasing the scaling of the weapon, then you can increase, obviously, you decrease the base damage of it as much as you can, and you increase the mind and light scaling of your blood code as much as you can, and you can get some crazy modifier out of it. Now that is also further boosted. So if you see here, like I said, we have our scaling and we have our base, and adrenaline, or sorry, overdrive is a scalar for our scaling factor on the weapon, not the base. So we had a 66 before, now we have a 90. So 90 over 66 is a 36% increase to our scaling, which, as we know, it's just a straight up 25%. However, it also pairs with Bridge to Glory in the scaling department. So now we're at 900. So we're 10 times where we were at 90. So we're up to 837. So we're now 10 times the damage what we were just a second ago. And if we add Blow of Madness, this adds 400 to the scaling, straight up. It's not a multiplier or any kind of anything. It's just a straight up additive 400 to your scaling number. And now we're at 1197. And see, because like I said, there's just some, and that 400 went away. There's some damage modifier here on the. So if we switch to this guy, 1769, and yeah, for whatever reason, there's, I don't know, it like removes the base value or something, which is kind of strange. It's like scaling only or something. I don't know. So we get our 86, and we get our 10 times multiplier from these two buffs. So we're up to 900, and if we use adrenaline. Now this is a modifier that you see it increased our scaling a little bit, but what it does is it takes these two and adds them, multiplies the two of them by 10%, and then comes up with the final number here of 942. Even though it doesn't change the base value, but that's how it gets the scaling number that it's going to add, is it takes what you had pre-buff, multiply it by 10%, So you had 930 times 1.1 is 10, or so you had 900 times 1.1 is 990. And this thing now is doing 942. But so that it's a little bit different. It doesn't operate the same exact way as Overdrive or Bridge to Glory does. It's outside of the parentheses, so it's multiplying the values that you get from Bridge to Glory and Overdrive. So you definitely want to be pairing those three together, as they do very well. These two are kind of inside, changing the scaling of the weapon, and then Adrenaline is outside the parenthesis, multiplying the final product after you, or the final sum after you've added all these up. And we talked about the elementals, that they are additive 20%, continued to add 20% to the base value. They don't add 20% on each other, so you get a diminishing return from the elementals. So here, if we add 1, we get 20%. So there's 104, and we were at like 86. And now we'll get another 20, or yeah, we'll get like another 20 out of this. But see, it's starting to be less and less as we add more and more, elementals here. So 156. So it doesn't scale in a multiplicative sense. It scales in an additive sense. So be careful with elementals. Now, Flashing Fang is a very strange animal in that it is a massive scaling increase. It's not quite a doubling of damage, but it's a scaling increaser in a large sense. So we were at 90, now it's at 160. So it's a multiplicative multiplier to your scaling factor, which then is changed by the amount of strength and dex, or changed by the amount of scaling stats that your weapon has. So if your weapon has strength and dex, then if we add a strength and dex in here, then our scaling will change. It's now no longer 160, it's 165, because it's strength and dex. But if we ran like a strength and fortitude, then this goes down a little for the dex, because fortitude is not connected to our weapon, so it decreases that. So if we had like a mind and a willpower, then let's see, there we go. So here, if we did strength and dex, our scaling would go up. Well, we don't know what the scaling was. Hang on, I changed weapons, so it's kind of a problem. So here, if we look at our scaling, we're at 294. Do this and get rid of this, and now we're at 709. So that was almost a 3 times. It's like a 2.5 times multiplier. And then if we add in our strength and dex, 733, so it went up from 709. And if we do like a mind and willpower, you see it went back to 709. So it's a strength and dex if the weapon has it. We can do just strength, and we can do just dex. But if the weapon has strength or dex, then you want to be scaling those up, as you can see here, that the scaling is continuing to go up the more strength and dex we have applied to our blood code to make the actual values go up. Okay, and like we said, Blow of Madness is just a straight up 400 increase, so we're at 709, and this will be 1109. So that's it doesn't change the base or anything like that. So everything attached to what is this? Overdrive, Offensive Order, Bridge to Glory. These all run your scaling factor extremely high. So if we go for something like this guy, the Judgment Edge, now it has a monster scaling factor. It has one of the highest scaling factors in the game at 1505 here when it's intensified, and that's really good because then we can pair all these great buffs to it. However, the fact of the matter is that because it has such a horrible bridge to glory factor, remember we talked about the bridge factor being the divisor, then or the dividend, then it actually comes out to be less damage than something like the Argent King Wolfblade, or something like the Warp Blade, or the Onibane. So that's kind of the problem with it, is that once you find the bridge factor of each weapon, and then you put it through its paces with the multiple multipliers, sorry, then you kind of realize that some of them actually work better than others. So remember, the formula is take your light value, divide by the bridge factor of the weapon, plus the damage value listed on the card for the physical, and then that will get you your um, and then if you, or sorry, the light value divided by the bridge factor plus the basic attack, and then that equals the enhanced damage. So that's how you can kind of figure out which bridge factor is associated to what weapon, and how you can find the best one. Now, the one of the best ones for scaling purposes is actually the warped blade, which is very bizarre. It goes as low as a 1.78 bridge factor, which is excellent for a weapon. Anything lower than 2 is really good. So we look here, we got 1482. So we go back to our little equation here. We got 1482, and our light value is our light value is 1758, and our bridge damage is 2432. So this guy's a 1.85 bridge factor, so it's well below 2, and you can increase it more with some different mind and dex and strength gifts here if you wanted to, but it's actually surprisingly a really good scaling weapon. Kind of strange. So if we go, all the craziness here, you can see that the scaling on a weapon can get crazy high. Now, our base hasn't changed at all, because everything that we're doing goes straight into the scaling. So if you have high scaling on a weapon, then Bridge to Glory is going to be your friend. Again, here's this monster of a scaler. This is a pretty good scaler, but you see these have really big base values, 649, 266. So the base value is what's really great, but the scaling, because that's where you get your total physical damage, is base plus scaling. And since most modifiers and multipliers increase your scaling, so if you use something like an Eos Chrome, you'll notice that it's not really that impressive, because, I mean, this is just a regular greatsword, and then here's the black or the other greatsword with the, so it's worse in every way, except it has a higher base. So something like Adrenaline would do better with this kind of a weapon than with something that's got the scaling, not intensified there. So kind of strange, kind of different. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit. It's a little bit confusing. I'll try and put some of this in the description, and probably some of it up on the screen as well. But it's very different how these multipliers work. I'll have all the equations for you. And then if you run Swift Destruction, now this is a multiplier that is outside the parenthesis altogether. Now this multiplies the entire conglomerate of damage multipliers that you have. So Swift Destruction is probably the greatest damage multiplier that you can come across, because whatever you do inside the parenthesis of the equation to change the scaling or the base or the physical altogether, Swift Destruction will multiply that by 20%, no matter what it is, no matter how much, no matter if it's additive or not. It multiplies the entire equation by 20%. So it's an extremely strong, extremely powerful gift. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll kind of go over some other things maybe later, but this is kind of a intro level look at Bridge to Glory and some of the scaling weapons. So I hope you found this helpful. If not, just ignore the video. And if you did, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you later.